Hey everyone, it's Jeremy here. I would like to just do a quick little video to talk through some stuff that I've been thinking about. You can see here the title is Multiple Widgets. We're going to take a look at how you can use multiple widgets in the same FileMaker file. Now, we've talked about this in various places, office hours, probably in the community, but I've been thinking about possibly different ways, and I just want to kind of recap them here. So let's take a look. I've got a couple examples set up, and I'll walk through this as quick as I can. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. We can talk through them and see what's happening. And as always, be part of the JSNFM community where we talk about this stuff all the time. All right, let's get started. Let's take a look at the FileMaker file. Here is my FileMaker file, and it contains two widgets in it. I've got a chart widget, and I've got a table widget. Now, normally, and I teach this, I advocate for this, this one web viewer is going to handle both of them. I actually built a loading mechanism in here as well, just for fun. Not part of what we're talking about today. So this system that I've got set up are these two buttons that go and get different code bases and push them into the web viewer. And normally I would suggest do this. You go to your HTML table, you have a record for the chart widget, and you have a record for the table widget, and then your scripts or script parameters, whatever, decide which code is going to be loaded into the web viewer. So in this case, it might be the chart. It might be the chart widget that's loaded. Here might be the table widget that's loaded, and so forth. All right, there we go. So we have two different widgets, and they're loaded by the different buttons. Perfectly fine. Again, the way that you might do that is using those two records. But I started to think, well, rather than storing the different code bases in FileMaker, why not store them inside the widget itself and just have one widget called multiple widgets that holds all of the code for both of the widgets, for both possibilities. Let's go and take a look and see how to do that. So here's my JavaScript. I have a simple HTML file with one div, a generic div that I just called div. It's got an ID of div. Nothing too exciting about that. Then in my index.js file, I have my function here called load widget that is called from FileMaker, and it brings in a JSON object. And we do we have some data in there and some configuration and stuff. What's interesting here is that this function uses logic from FileMaker to decide which widget would be loaded. Does that make sense? So in this case, I'm bringing in a widget variable from FileMaker, and the widget variable is deciding whether it's the table or the chart widget that is going to be loaded into the web viewer. I have both of those different libraries in different files. So for the table, I've got an entire setup inside of this table file. This table file is using the tabulator library. It's just a different table library. It's bringing in the data, and then it's using the data in the work. And for the charts, I've got just a normal chart widget here that has the Apex charts, and there's a variable called chart that is a function that takes in the data and maybe a config, and then is used in the web viewer. So the index.js file tells the JavaScript which of those two code bases to actually run, which to actually use. I'm importing them both. After exporting them from their respective files, I'm importing them, and then I'm putting them into an object called widget action that just contains a property called table, and then the function that will actually take the data and the configuration and run the table library. Same thing for chart. This property will run the chart function. And then we just call it right down here. So all of this code, all of the table code, all of the chart code is imported into this one file, into this one widget, and then it's just used. So if table comes in on this widget variable, then it's going to run the table function passing in the data. So that's how we get this right here, where we have one widget called multiple widgets, and that is used in this here. Let's watch the debugger and see how this works. So we're going to load the chart. It's got a parameter of chart. That's the name of the widget that we are going to use. Sorry, that is the name of the library inside of this widget that we are going to use. And it just does its thing. It goes and finds, here's some logic. If the widget equals table, it's going to go get some table data. If the widget equals chart, then it's going to go get some chart data. It's going to pass the widget name into, the widget type into the JavaScript right here with this JSON variable. Let's bring that up. So here's the JSON variable. Let's format it so we can all see it. So there it is. There's our data. And eventually it's going to have, I think I did it just one step. Yeah, there we go. I need to do one more step. There we go. So now the JSON that's going to go into FileMaker contains the charts data and the type of chart of widget that it is. And then it just runs through and does the rest that it needs to do. So when I pressed the load chart button, the chart name went into the JavaScript, and the JavaScript said, oh, you're asking me for the chart widget. So I'm going to look in this object for that property, and I'm going to extract out the function. And then I'm going to run that function with the data that comes from FileMaker and any configuration. Likewise, if I click table, it's going to pass the word table into my JavaScript code. The table variable, the table value will get placed into this widget variable. That widget variable is used down here to determine from this object which to use, and then it gets used. So this allows me to create multiple widgets. Now, I'm looking at my structure here, and I'm finding that I don't like something. I want to make some changes here. I see that chart and table are my two individual widget files. I'm just going to organize this a little bit better by creating a new folder, calling this widgets, and putting both of those in there. What I love about VS Code is when I do this, it's going to update all the references to these two files. So this index.js file, it says just from table from chart. But once I push these into the widgets folder, are you sure you want to move them? Yes. And then my index.js file gets updated with the right path. It doesn't get saved. FileMaker is telling me there's an issue. That's a problem. All I have to do, though, is save this file, and then FileMaker works just fine. Very nice. I really like this way of storing the widgets. This allows me to have just one file, possibly more files, of widgets inside of this one widget, and then this one widget is placed into a FileMaker file and then used. So yeah, I'm just curious what you have to think about this. This is another way to store the widgets rather than storing them inside a FileMaker as separate records. Here, we can store both of these in this one widget, and so we don't have to have multiple records. I kind of like that idea, but I'm curious what you think. Remember, this code that you see here contains all of the code that is necessary for the tabulator table, for the table widget, and for the chart widget using the Apex charts library. So I don't need to worry about anything. I can just know that all of it's in here, and all of it's working. All right, so let me know what you think. I'm really interested to hear what you think about this. I love this idea. I really do. I love this idea. I think it's a nice way to do it. And I think if I had a project or if I was using multiple widgets in the same file, I might choose this method. All right, let me know. Talk to you later.